uh locking up their stuff. And I know I think he's like 18. I think that's his age. Hefe said yes, they absolutely should, for repeat offenders. Maybe not the same penalty, but definitely should get some jail time. Pat said if they old enough to know what they doing, nah. Um, the parents shouldn't be responsible. Sir said so if we hold parents accountable for the actions of the children, it's a slippery slope. It is a very slippery slope. Um, but it doesn't seem like these parents are being responsible for their kids and their action. I won't say the kids and their actions, because the thing that happened at Florida State University, his mom happened to be a sheriff, and I believe from what I got was he got a hold of the mom's service weapon, and that is how he got the gun. So I feel, even though yes, he may be of legal age, I feel in a way like, yo, why didn't you do a better job of locking up that, your stuff? um Sheb said I feel like they should put their guns away safely instead of leaving it. Hey, Clark, leaving it out, if that leaving it out that access to. I agree with you. If you're going to be irresponsible with your stuff, then you should be, and I'm with FA, maybe not get the same amount of time, but you should be charged with something, maybe negligence or something like that. Oh, did I say happy Good Friday too? Happy Good Friday. Easter Sunday, 420. Jesus, I'm Mary Jane Easter. I'm sorry, I had to throw that in there. I know it was court. Uh, Chev said facts. Sir said, then charge them with improper storage of a weapon, but not the crime itself. Yeah, I'm not saying they maybe should be charged with the same crime that their child is going to be charged with, but charged with something, maybe negligence. And no, you got to teach some of these parents, you got to teach these folks a lesson, you know? Stop being so irresponsible with your stuff. Hey, Tony. Stop being so irresponsible with your stuff. Like, you're a sheriff. And I think too, if I'm not mistaken, she had got her son some sort of training, gun training. So that's just a very tragic situation at Florida State University. But I feel like maybe it could have been prevented had that mother properly stored the gun like she was supposed to, and not been so irresponsible. But you don't know what your kids are thinking, but two, you have to be, responsible as an adult. So if I have any new folks, we are talking about, should parents be held accountable for their kids' crimes? Should parents be held accountable for their kids' crimes? That is the question today. Um, I'm with, I think it was Hefe. He said, maybe not the full extent of their crime, but they should be charged with something. I say, hey, you know how, like, if you're with somebody that commits a crime, maybe not that to that extent, you hold them accountable, because if you're with somebody that commits a crime, then you're considered accessory. But maybe charge them with negligence or improper storage of their weapon, because this woman was a sheriff. So, like, what was you doing, sis? I'm trying to get this so, because this angle is so, that sun, and God bless the sun, but it's doing what it's supposed to do. So we're gonna switch this way. And that seems like it's a little bit better. And then I got it on Twitch, and y'all can see everything. You can see my little I'm from New York. I definitely have to have Jay. I got my Scarface. These are all gonna get put up too. This is gonna be my podcast studio. I'm eventually gonna turn it into that. So can't wait. Sir said, Hold on. Sir, I see you. Sir said, this is where it gets complicated. Say her son shot and killed a burglar. He would be held as a hero right now, and no one would say the parent shouldn't have left the gun where he couldn't get it. You may be right. You may be right. He may, I mean, different cases, different scenarios, but just know that he wasn't called a thug. There was I don't know if you saw that shooting in Dallas. Yeah, it was a mass shooting in Dallas at a school by a black boy. He went up in the school. He said he'd rather be in jail than to kill himself. So we went up in a school. I think nobody was killed in that situation. Probably why? Because this happened. I didn't even hear about this story until like just today when I got up this morning and I read it. And I guess they arrested him, the boy in Dallas. But his reasoning was because he lost his mom and his grandma and he had nothing to live for. So he'd rather go to jail. But why try to go kill folks? I'm just saying, I don't know. We live in a strange world where folks, want to be out here taking you out because they're miserable. And I'm like, if you're miserable, don't be miserable. Why do you got to take other folks with you because you're miserable and you don't like your life? I don't get that part. Hefe said it has to be a penalty for parents that can't raise civil, decent citizens. And Hefe said that these parents need to be held accountable for their poor parenting. Hey, Haven girl, I got to get to the Bahamas to come see you, girl. One of these days, child. It's rough out here right now. But thank you for joining the chat. And hello to everybody on Twitch. Hey, babe. So Hefe, so we got two sides of the argument right now. Hefe is saying no, that so Hefe, you're still standing on the fact that they should be charged with something, maybe not the same crime as the kid, but something. And sir, I think I'm getting from you is like, it's not fair to charge the parent for what their kid does. Again, yeah, see, this is where it does kind of get tricky because in that situation in Florida State, I mean, he does know right from wrong, but the mother, I feel like, should have been more responsible. Should have been more responsible in the situation. You're a sheriff. Why are you not locking your service weapon up? I'm just saying. Regardless of, he is a grown, he is of age, but still, you left your weapon out, and we can't control what our kids do, but, again, as a sheriff, as a law enforcement official, I just think maybe you should have took better, precaution. Hefe said, and I'm only speaking on repeat offenders. Okay, so Hefe's like, okay, if, but like, what about Hefe in the case of like a school, like these school shootings? Most of the time, they are only going to be a one and done repeat offender because the destruction is so massive in that they are going to jail anyway. So what about in that situation? Should the parents not be held accountable in that situation? Shep said, I guess she just trusts her son. I guess she did. And again, sometimes you don't know what folks are going through, but I would say as a law enforcement official, she should have done a better job of, come on, protecting your stuff. And I'm not saying that she's to blame for this situation because again, her son was grown and he knew right from wrong, and he knew that going up into that school and doing what he did he would have to suffer the consequences. But should she, seeing that was her weapon, should she now have to suffer the same consequences as he because that was her weapon? I know it's a different scenario because he's older, but still. Hefe, I just tried to let you on. Hold on, Hefe. There you go. What up, Hefe?
What's up, Mama?
Happy Good Friday to you.
Happy Good Friday.
Okay, so you're saying for repeat offenders that they should suffer some consequences. But
Yeah,
what if, like in this case here, with these school shootings, I mean, they're not going to be repeat offenders. So
oh
should
yeah, I don't agree with like one-offs. Like now, we already got the law, so if it's like a one-time situation, like you saying the school shooter, the law already constitutes that if like you improperly stored your weapon or you left it out or something like that, then they'll get that charge regardless, right?
uh-huh.
But that wouldn't say they should get the charge associated with like the shooting because that was a one-off. But I'm really focusing on these kids who consistently are getting locked up, consistently are robbing people, consistently are taking people, carjacking people, and
Mhm.
these consistent offenders that's consistently getting arrested. Those are the parents I think that should get jail time.
I got you.
Not just like one-off situations, you know what I mean? Because anybody can do anything at any time, and that wouldn't be necessarily fair to the parent.
Right. So not necessarily like for these school shootings, because again, we don't know what these kids do go through every day. It's a lot different.
Now, unless they done got caught with guns multiple times. I'm talking about like if that school shooter never got locked up before, then no. But if that school shooter got a rap sheet of like 15 arrests, then yes. Then
Okay.
yes, the parents should catch that some of that.
Yeah, well, I don't I'm not judging, but I am judging. But judging from the picture, it don't look like he was even like that.
Right,
Um
right.
but I don't know because this situation is so different because he does know right from wrong. He is of an age where it's like, okay, you know what you're doing. So, but his mom was a sheriff, and that's what's kind of putting this in the spotlight cuz wow, your mom was a sheriff and you took the gun and used one of her service weapons. So, it irresponsible for her to leave her stuff laying around
Well,
like her.
she gonna get reprimanded. 100%. Anybody that has a license to carry, whether they're the police or not the police, they all got the same rules. They gotta safely store their weapon where it's not when no one else has access to it. That's it. That's across the board. So because she's a legally gun carrying citizen, whether she's the police or not, he has that responsibility to make sure it's always at reach. So is she wrong? 100%. And she should be charged too. You know what I mean?
So should she should be charged as her son, or she should just be
No,
charged? Okay.
no, because I think this is a one-off. I think the son never got in trouble before, so I
Y-
think that this is a one-off.
Okay, let me ask you another question too, because the man that sits in the White House now talked about Second Amendment rights, and I'm all for people carrying and carrying their guns. Can you hear me, FA? I just got a call. I want to make sure you can hear
Yeah,
me
yeah, I
still.
can hear you now.
Okay. Um, I'm all about people carrying and Second Amendment rights, but he made a statement saying that it's not the guns that are killing people, it's the people killing people. But do you think maybe if we did maybe have some sort of gun regulations in place, especially when it comes to these youth, because they're getting their more and more of them are getting their hands on these guns. Let's just be real.
And I think they already got regulations. I mean, they're already there. And I'm not pro carry gun or I'm not pro not carry gun, right? Like I'm not either on really either side, right? But I think that that's usually a Democratic speaking point. How many regulations can you create? They already got background checks. They already got bad people or crazy people or dangerous people are going to get access to these guns at some point, right?
Mm.
Maybe not at the highest degree, but they have regular. What else can you do? You run a background check. They pass the background check. They get a gun. It's just that simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, what other regulations can you conduct? I'm just curious about.
I don't know. Maybe raise. I mean, because the legal age to drink is 21. Maybe raise the legal age for these kids to drink. I mean, not drink. I'm sorry, to carry guns.
I mean, it's already so you can't. So in most states, almost all states, you could an 18-year-old can only carry they can only buy like a shotgun or a rifle, right? And they do that intentionally because you can't conceal those weapons, right? So
Mm.
like an 18-year-old can't buy a pistol.
Okay, make
They
that
can't buy a
age though
pistol
for
until they 21.
okay, but make that a shotgun is I feel like is even more deadlier.
Well, it's more deadlier, but it's not. You if you notice that all the shooters are never used with shotguns because they're not easy to conceal. You can't walk in. You can't hide a shotgun as easy as you can hide a pistol. At least that's the logic behind it. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
That's why you don't often see guns or ARs or assault rifles being used and that type of stuff. Not saying that they never do, but
Right.
that is the logic behind it. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. I just I get what he's saying. People do because people do kill people, but I just think I say raise the limit. Especially, I hear you, but they're still practicing. Um, Dumb folks, YTs, no disrespect, straight out the womb, they teaching their kids how to shoot. They going deer hunting. They ain't doing that stuff for no reason. Um, they get their kids ready for anything that pops off.
I'm gonna be 100 with you. I'm gonna be 100 with you. I'm pro black, but I'm gonna be 100 with you. The kids that are usually trained with how to use a firearm are not the ones committing the shootings. Not in a high degree. If you look at the percentages, right? They're not kids that are being introduced to weapons and being taught how to properly handle these weapons are the ones that's outside recklessly shooting and harming people.
Mm.
That's not usually the case. It's the it's not the gun. It's the parenting. That's my belief. Because you got parents that teach kids from 5 years old how to shoot a gun, and they don't shoot anyone, right? And then you got parents who, especially in our community, who are like resistant from guns, or they're kind of afraid of guns, or they stay away from guns, or whatever. And in my opinion, their poor parenting is the reason why these children are out here just wild and reckless. Like, for example, I have a daughter, 10 years old. I go outside sometimes. I see these girls with these cut off shirts.
Oh
I
no.
see these girls with these leggings. Meaning, like, just 12, 13 years old. I see these boys with their face covered with, like, the little push icy mask and
Yeah.
all that stuff. I see these boys with their pants all the way down. I'm not trying to act old, but I'm 36. And I come from the hood. When my parenting comes in play, I think I'm imagine my daughter operating like that. Like, I would knock her head.
Yeah. Hefe, your phone was cutting in and out.
Things at the Chipotle. Like this, like when I see the just acting insane. To me, it's the parenting. Because your child don't go out there acting like that if they don't have the fear of their parents. They must don't care about their parents.
Well, you're right, because my boyfriend, he says it all the time. He sees these little. He's like, "What is wrong with some of these moms? Like, why do they dress their kids like them?" And I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't know, but you do got babies raising babies. And some of these people don't need to be parents. I'm just gonna be real
No,
about it.
most of them.
Huh?
Most of them.
Yeah, they don't need to be parents. Me and Mama were just talking the other day, and she said, "So they need to give people like an exam or something, and make them pass an exam to be a parent, because some folks don't deserve to be parents." I hate it. I hate to say it.
I have a radical opinion. Right? How about this? You shouldn't be able to have a child unless you're married. How about that?
I mean,
I think at the minimum that would decrease a lot of it. Wouldn't eliminate, but it would definitely decrease to me a lot of these mishaps. That's right now. You know what I mean? Because the likelihood of you getting married young is not as high today. And two, you probably would take more consideration in who you would marry. Women, unfortunately, will have higher standards for the person they marry than the person they have a child with.
this might need to be a topic.
That's
At
real.
that, this might be need to say it again, Hefe. Women have higher standards.
Women.
Go ahead.
Yeah, women have higher standards for the men that they want to marry, opposed to the men that they want to give a child to.
Why you
You
think
are
that is,
willing to give a
Fa?
child to any nigga that get her pregnant.
Why you think that is, Fa? Why do you think they have higher standards for the men that they date versus the men that they have lay down and have kids with?
Well, I'm gonna give both sides, right? I'm gonna give her like a Me criticizing them, and then I'm gonna give them maybe from their point of view. One point of view is they're gonna say they were young, they were immature, and maybe don't believe in abortion. Maybe they didn't want to, terminate their child. Okay, cool. That's one of those things. The second reason is critical reason is women believe that growth eliminates their past. So they believe that because they've grown, because they're more mature now, that they can acquire a higher price. Meaning, like, you know how a girl can have a promiscuous past or have a couple children with a couple different guys,
Yeah.
and then they get 30 or 35 and they like, you know what, I've grown, I was young in my 20s, I made some mistakes. Sure you did. And they'll be like, well, I don't deserve a good man. They'll say stuff like that. And I'll say, no, you deserve what you can get, because good men don't want to sign up for your bad decisions. You know what I'm saying? That's not something. What would they get? So you getting a good man, what are they getting? A woman that made mistakes that are lifelong lasting. Like, your children don't just go away.
But what do you mean? Why can't they like rehabilitate themselves and get a new start in life? No, that's not how that work.
Well, no, because all decisions are not equal. So I mean, like, every bad decision, some bad decisions you can get a shot and get cured for, right?
Yeah.
And then some bad decisions are with you for the rest of your life. Right?
Yeah.
And it'll be the same one bad decision that can cause two different outcomes. Children are one of those ones that I want our women to understand that are lifelong decisions, at least until they grown. Right? You know what I mean? At least until they like,
no, you're right,
and out your house.
Yeah.
Because you're asking someone else to step in and, maybe take part in that decision, meaning by like taking care of them or whatever. So all bad decisions, yeah, if you were promiscuous in your early teens and maybe 21, when you turn 30, that may not follow you as far, right? You can change and maybe people may forget. But if you had a baby at 16 and you trying to get a man at 30, he may be like, nah, I don't want to. Okay, let me give an example where women can understand. Do you want to date a felon?
It depends. It depends.
Okay, cool. Fair enough. Let me use a felon that you want. Would you want to date somebody who got convicted of murder?
No. Hell no. Because I'd be worried about if they gonna kill me.
Let's say he's 35 right now, right? But he did it when he was 18. And he said he grew, and that was his past. But now he's still suffering the consequences of that decision, right? But at 35, he's still a felon. He still doesn't have access to certain jobs. He still doesn't have access to certain liberties in this country. He still doesn't have access to maybe certain levels of wealth, like certain jobs that can provide him wealth. Yeah, he can be self-employed, but there are going to be a lot of doors that will be closed to him because of that one decision that he made at 18.
I get what you're saying.
It doesn't matter how much he changed at 35. That decision follows him. That's all that I'm saying. Some decisions follow you.
I get what you're saying, but not they do follow you, but some people turn lemon into lemonade is what I'm trying to say. And Swisher said,
but most don't.
Swisher said he preaching, amen, brother. Yeah. They talking about you, Hefe. Swisher said you was preaching.
Oh, I can't see none of them.
He said you preaching, amen, brother. I don't know why, because Rashad says the same thing when he's on here. So I got to figure out why y'all can't see the comments. Maybe I got something on my thing why y'all can't see it. So I'll get it figured out. But yeah, he said you're preaching. Chef said, true, refused to have several kids from different men. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, F.A., that your past, stuff in your past can follow you, which is absolutely true, especially, yes, if you're a felon. But why can't a woman say, hey, I have grown from this situation and I don't want to continue to make the same mistakes?
Why can't a man say, I have grown from this felony and I didn't make the same mistakes? Why can't he say that?
And he can say that. Why he can't?
Right. So saying it doesn't mean anything, right? But what you're saying is, why can't they say it and it actually matter? That's what you're asking, right?
Yes.
And I'm saying, because that's not how the world works. That's not how the world works. It doesn't matter. People don't owe you understanding. People don't owe you understanding.
So why don't so these women who have kids, they're not supposed to have high standards? I'm just confused a little bit.
No, that no, I'm not interested in their standards. I'm only interested in what they can get. So it's like all I'm interested in is what can you get. So let's just say this. Let's say a middle. I'm a what do you call it? Middle wage. What's the term?
Middle aged. Yeah, you was right. Middle aged.
Yeah, middle wage income worker, right?
Or middle class. I'm
And I
sorry,
want
middle class.
yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
No, but what is the little state rate? I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, let's just say no. Minimum wage, not middle.
Okay, minimum
Wage.
wage.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Let's say I'm a minimum wage worker, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have high standards for the car that I want. I want a Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a minimum wage worker. So you're saying, well, can I not want the Lamborghini? I, I would say to that person, you can want the Lamborghini all you want.
Right.
Can you buy the Lamborghini? But can you buy it?
Can you afford the
And that's what I'm
Lamborghini?
saying. Can you afford it? The problem is women think men don't cost anything. So they think that it doesn't matter what they bring to the table. I should just be able to get a good one. Good men are expensive. How about that? Good men are very expensive.
I did not.
That's what it comes.
When did good men become expensive? Hey, Classic C Gems.
No. That is the thing. Good men are very expensive, and women who are minimum wage, as far as this analogy goes, believe that they should be able to get a Lamborghini.
But shouldn't you reach for the stars? That's what they teach you in life, though. You should reach for always reach for. I'm just saying,
Like
they always tell you to reach for the stars.
No, that's foolish. No. You should no. You can that's symbolic. You need to do things that are reachable. I would not teach my child. Let's say I had a little person that's 4'5". That's my child, and he is reaching for. He wants to be in the NBA. I would not tell him reaching for the stars, you can become an NBA player. I would say you need to prepare your life for it as if you won't become an NBA player. You can still try to be one, but you need to prepare your life as if you will not become one because men most of the time deal with probability and their decisions are based around the likelihood of something. So if the likelihood of something is extremely low, they're going to say, we're probably not going to get that. And then they're probably going to redirect their energy in something that they believe is achievable.
Right.
Women kind of think like, nah, women always think they're the exception to the rule. Like if I say it's 99.99% not likely that this is going to happen, they 100% of women think that they will be that 0.1% who will be able to obtain whatever that is.
Well, women, we like a good challenge. We're competitive. That's what they say. That women be competing against other women, and we do other stuff not for the men, but we do it for the women. I never. Yeah, I don't do it for y'all. I'm sorry, but I do it. I do it for myself, if that makes sense. So
2 topics I want you to do. The one you just wrote, and do the other one. Are good men expensive? And I'm very interested.
Oh gosh, Mama is gonna love that one because she's like, these men always think they the prize. Why they think they the prize? So yeah, we'll have to cover that. We'll maybe do that.
And make sure when you explain, expensive just means they have requirements. And if you can't fulfill the requirements that they have, you probably are not going to be able to obtain them.
Okay, but break that. Okay, what makes a good man expensive though? Break that down.
Well, women determine men's value, and men determine women's value.
Okay.
So men that are quote unquote expensive, as far as this analogy, is rated based on what women say they desire. So if they say they desire tall men, then taller men are a little more expensive, right? As far as this, the way we're gauging it. If they say they like men that are handsome, men that are handsome are going to be more expensive, meaning like they have more options. They say they like men that have money, then men that are tall, handsome, and have money are going to be more expensive. They say they like a man with character that are handsome and tall and have money, or he got to be in shape, or he's blessed physically in some areas that women like, right? All of those things add up to a highly desirable guy. You know what that means for that guy? That guy walks around the world like a pretty woman, meaning like he constantly is getting attention. He walks around the world
Hey, school,
with
hi,
a lot
Auntie,
of
hey, DJ, do it.
options.
So, okay.
So he
So,
gets to be selective.
okay, so does that, because the man has more options, make him more, that makes him expensive? Because he has,
Absolutely. Absolutely, because he's in the driver's seat, meaning like he kind of gets to pick. How about this? If there's 100 women that all want to be with me, don't I get to be able to be selective between 100? Doesn't that put me in the power position to be able to say I don't want her, I don't want her, she's overweight, she has a child,
but
she has 2 children,
Hefe,
she has no children, she has, you know what I mean?
I almost feel like you are saying because if a woman has, like, I guess, kids and stuff from her past, that she's
Right.
not, that makes her less of a good woman? That's the
No,
question.
not good. Not good. Good, we're talking about value. Not a matter of good or bad.
So that makes her less valuable.
Right. How about the less desirable? Maybe that's a better way for you to understand. They're less desirable. Let me ask you this.
But why is a woman less desirable with kids and a man contains the same value? Because all those things that you said, great, fabulous, and he can be all those things, but what if he has kids? And multiple kids by multiple women?
It goes back to what I said. It goes back to what I just said. I said women determine what's valuable in men, and men determine what's valuable in women. So why is it that your question is why is it that men can have children and their value is not lowered?
Yeah.
Because women have said that having a child doesn't lower your value as long as you have all these other things.
Oh.
Women don't have a problem with dating a man that has a child if he's tall, if he's handsome, if he has money, yada, 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 right? So they put the having the children down at the bottom of one of those things that'll make you eliminate.
And you guys have put it at the top.
Exactly. Men don't feel that way. Men say, no, it doesn't. Because men don't say it. If you talk, men say you gotta be fit, beautiful, and friendly for the most part. And most men that have a lot of options prefer women that don't have any children. So if I have a lot of options, I'm 9 times out of 10 eliminate the woman that has children. Just like crazy. 9 times out of 10, a woman is going to eliminate the guy that's a brokey. Ain't that what y'all call her?
Listen, Hefe, I ain't messing with you today. Wait, D Shorty said on Twitch, LOL, ain't that the truth? I wouldn't say more expensive, just more desired. And because women are more acceptable, D Shorty said on Twitch. Thank you for hopping on Twitch. I appreciate you. What were you going to say, Hefe? You was about to say no. Was you going to say no to what
No, I just wanted to make sure that the audience understands that was an example.
Yes.
There was an analogy that I was using when I said a more expensive. Not, you know what I mean? I was trying to create an analogy for people to kind of understand why men tend not to like certain things.
So you're saying to me, Hefe, I can't be mad at it, and we the ones that are accepting of this.
Not only can you not be mad, it wouldn't make a difference if you were or not.
Why would it not?
Because your feelings don't determine what men like.
You're right.
So you cannot like that men don't like. You cannot like and don't think it's fair and use all these words that don't matter. Like, it's not good or am I a bad person? Or none of those things will ever change the fact that men say we don't prefer women with children. So it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter that you don't like it. It doesn't matter that it bothers you. It doesn't matter that the shoe fits. How about this? It's a lot of short men that don't like that women prefer taller men.
You're right.
So would they be mad? Would they be wrong for being mad? You would say it wouldn't matter if they wouldn't matter or not. Women still like tall men.
Well, I'm not mad at you guys for having value. I'm just mad because you pointed out something that I didn't even think about, that, you're right. Women, we are more acceptable. And Shorty said on Twitter, women allow men to be more valuable than they should be. And he is right. So you made your point. I just never
And
thought about
that
it
is
that
true.
way.
They took that the wrong way. It's not that women allow them to be more valuable. Women instinctively like certain things differently from men. So you know what I mean? So if be who you are. Now I do agree. This is what I do agree, and maybe this is what she was saying. I do agree that women should care less about money and less about height and less about looks and more about character, right? And
Yeah.
because character reflects, like, if a guy's having three different kids, three different baby mothers, that kind of reflects his character. So if they cared more about character, then his decisions and his past would affect how she views the person that she wants to be with. But because character is not the number one thing, it's money,
That's
looks,
crazy.
right. So they'll say, these rappers or all these guys are not what we would call intelligent, good leaders. They just have the money and all of the glitz and the glam. And the women will, all these rappers with 15 kids. They
Yeah.
all got like 10 kids, right? Every girl will still sign up for that. You know why? Because character is not the number one thing they're looking for. They're looking for lifestyle
Look at Neo.
and
He got
status.
4 girlfriends.
Come on, man. Come
And
on.
then told none of them they can't have no men, but he can have as many girlfriends as he wants. I said,
Right.
please make that make sense, because when he talk about that
Who's
math
that
ain't
a
mathing.
reflection of, though? Who does that? Is that a reflection of him, or is that a reflection of them?
That's a reflection of them, because what in the
Hey,
what does that say about yourself, sis?
hey.
That you is
I feel
willing
the
to
same
deal
way
with
about
that.
women that have children with guys that don't want.
No, so I agree with you, Fa, because again, if they could walk around with Neo, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, I'm just saying, he ain't the best looking thing, and it's funny because I'm in this radio thing, and I've probably told you guys the story a million times where I see what these men and their wives look like. But then you go and you see what they side chick look like, and you be like, okay, I see what's going on here. You got her when you wasn't at your highest. But that's who you really want to be with, is the side chick. And that's why she the trophy piece or whatever y'all call them. But I mean, I get what you're saying, Fa. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. If women, like you said, put more, emphasis on character instead of, I've never dated folks for money. I've never been that girl. I'm an equal opportunity. I was an equal opportunity dater when I was single. I dated people on how I vibed off of them. Like what kind of vibe me and that person had. So, yeah. Not because.
I mean, you get what you get what you get. That's why I don't allow the women to play the victim when they go, oh, well, he's this, he's changed. I'll be like, that man, I promise you, 9 times out of 10, he's exactly who he was from the beginning. Women are very good at putting on blinders when things that they like are in front of them. So, like,
Yeah, you're right.
He's attractive and he has money and he has all of those type of things, you will turn a blind eye, some intentionally, some unintentionally, right? But you tend not to see the things that really matter until it's later.
Yeah, we ignore the red flags. You're absolutely right. We do. Because we do. You see them in the beginning, but yeah, we ignore them. D Shorty said women put those men on pedestals if they check off certain boxes, and many women are chasing this particular man. Well, I mean, I can't speak for these other women, but there are women that only date and only will date you if you are in a certain tax bracket. So I'm not.
Most women.
Why do you say most though?
Most modern day. Because that's what the statistics
Hey, Bam Bam.
Well, I'll just say this. Every time I watch these,
DJ Dewitt said truth.
Conversations. Oh, go ahead.
DJ Dewitt said truth.
Yeah, every time I watch these man-woman conversations, whether it's podcasts, whether it's dating shows, they always describe the same guy, right? It's always essentially the same guy. So, no, most women want a man that's tall. Most women want a man that makes money. Most women want a man that is, blessed and endowed, right? And guess what? If they don't get it, almost 90% of the women all say the same thing, at least modern day women. I don't want to settle. That would be settling, right?
Well,
that will always be the case if they don't get all 3 or all 5 things that they're looking for.
so you say go on date these little short men. Short men need love
No,
too.
and look, and I'm 6'2", right? I'm 6'2". I'm fairly handsome, I would think, and I do well financially. And guess what? I've always been an advocate for average men because the reality is,
There's not a lot of tall men. They're
it's not
especially
a lot of
yeah.
tall men. Like,
Mm-mm.
and I benefit. Listen, and the taller guys that's handsome that do well, they benefit
Yeah.
from this narrow-mindedness of the women. Because guess what? We just gonna bang all of y'all. That's all. That's really all that's
Oh
gonna happen.
God! You like? Oh,
I'm
you
just
want a
saying,
tall
man.
man? No problem. I got you. Not DJ. Shorty. D Shorty says sometimes men are good at being womanizers and good at being deceptive. Uh Bam Bam said facts. DJ Dewar said, and that's to everything y'all are saying. And Sheb said, who wants to settle? Um I'm sorry, let's run it back at that because we do got some new folks on here. We went from should parents be to blame for their kids' crimes to what was the other one? You had a lot of good ones on here. Why women feel. Go ahead, Hefe. Tell them.
So the second one was why do women's standards higher for the man they want to marry opposed to the man they'll give a child to?
And I don't want to touch on that. I'm going to write that one down. I want to touch on that next week. Let me write that down.
Okay.
And then, because we're already talking about the second one. So tell them the second one, FA, that we've been talking about. That men are the prize.
Right. Well, I'm not necessarily saying men.
Uh-oh. Hold on.
And became the prize that it was when all of the women say they want the same guy, then you now elevated that guy. So now he's the prize opposed to when. How about this? Look at it like this. Back in the 60s, in the 70s, and maybe the 50s, every black person on here, look at your family tree. Look at your aunts. Look at your uncles, right? Look at the family around you. Are most of your uncles attractive? Are most of your uncles tall?
Yes, my uncle tall and mine's is attractive.
Okay, cool. Let's be realistic, right? So most people are not that attractive. Most people are average looking.
Okay.
Most people are average height, and most people are average earners, at least in our black community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Black people got married at a high rate back in the day because it was more about character. It wasn't all about, because last time I checked, 90% of black people don't come from rich families, right? And most of the time, last time I checked, most of our family members don't fit this man that the modern day woman has created today. How about this? Most of the women, modern day women, the man that they've created is not even their own father. So what do I mean by that? Why is your daddy good enough for your mother, but your daddy wouldn't be good enough for you to date today?
Oh, baby. I don't want a modern day my daddy.
Your daddy probably ain't right, but let's talk about the people that got decent.
Decent fathers. Yeah.
Most of your fathers are not 6 foot. Most of your fathers probably don't got a 6-pack. And most of your fathers, if you black, are probably not high earners, right? They're probably average earners. Why is that man was good enough for your mother, but today, if you met your father, you would not date him? You know what modern day women would call their father today?
What?
Settling. That would be settling for them.
Oh, hold on. I want you to finish your point, and then I want to go. I want you to finish your point. Go ahead. I want you to finish your point, and then I want to make a point. Go ahead. Finish your point. Hefe. I don't know what happened to Hefe. DJ Dewar said, preach, homie. D Shorty on Twitch said, never cared about height. Men are not the prize. Get out of here. Ooh, I wish you could come on. You can come on. I don't know if you can come on my Twitch, but I still am not a affiliate of Twitch yet. I was gonna make a point. I wanted him to finish his point. I want to see if I can get him back on here. Cause DJ Dewar said he was preaching. Let me see if I can get FA back on here. But my point was gonna be, now. Don't y'all start that noise. Because like y'all like to say about, remember when we be having this whole 50-50 conversation? Which y'all like to say, oh no, times are different, things are more money. back then, maybe that was acceptable, But let's keep it 100. The men back in their day, they didn't have that song "Papa was a Rolling Stone" for no reason. Wherever he laid his hat was his home, because the men was doing the same nonsense they doing in 2025. But those were different times, so that's why Mama was good with Hey Super Bad. Mama was over there good with Papa, because that was good for that time. In 2025, it's a whole nother ball game. And Hey Super Bad, I'm not saying that. I was trying to bring Hefe back on here. Okay, I don't know what's going on. I was trying to bring you back, Hefe. Try to invite yourself again. If not, let me see if I can invite you. Hefe, invite. See if that works. There we go. I invited you, Hefe. There you go. All right, Hefe.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And I said how I felt about out it. D Shorty on Twitch said, "Men are not the prize. Get out of here."
One, I said, I'm gonna qualify that statement. I said, some are the prize, meaning like this man that women all desire is the prize. He's the prize, and he's the prize because women made it that way. Not because I'm saying men are the prize, right? But
Right.
when women have made it that way, when he is now the prize, because almost like whoever, when all the women are competing to get the same guy, whoever gets that guy is the winner.
Isn't that? Oh, that's tragic. See, I don't ever want to be in no situation like that, Fa. But you were saying a good man is expensive. That was the whole point of this. That's the point of this conference. A good man is expensive. And I wanted to go back because you said, why was your dad good enough for your mom? And I wanted to bring up the fact that, because we've been on this chat and we've had conversations about going 50-50, and we're not going to have that conversation today. But we had conversations about going 50-50. I would say, yeah, it was maybe acceptable to mama because those were the times. Times were different. Then maybe daddy was good enough, but we in a new day and age, 2025, and I'm not saying, but what I am saying, what y'all been saying, things are a lot different. Things cost. And then
things are different because women have changed, honestly, and men hasn't. What I mean by that is the fundamentalness of a man is core the same. We are essentially the same. We still desire the same things. We kind of have the same characteristics. We still want to be leaders, providers, nurturers. I mean, not nurturers. Leaders, providers, and protectors, right? That's still the core of us. Women have changed. And they may mask it by calling it evolving. They have evolved.
Why do you feel like women have changed, though?
Because women used to care more about character than about frivolous things like height and money and how well he performs in the bedroom. Now, just because I said they didn't care as much about it. I didn't say they didn't care at all about those things, but those weren't the defining things that will decide whether they would be with a particular man or not. So and that lowered you in the inside, because now when you care more about things that don't really matter, you subject yourself to a lot more men that don't have a lot of character.
Right. But men care about looks just as much as females, no?
Well, no, because average men go for average women. Like if you look at an average looking man, 9 times out of 10 he's with an average looking woman.
So does that mean he's settling?
No, men don't use words like that. See, that's what these are women. These are words women. You don't hear men.
But it sounds like.
Guess what? 90% of above average earning men are really settling with the woman that they with. Because 9 times out of 10 they with a woman that got a child that don't belong to them. So that automatically makes them settling. If we want to use those type of terms, even though we don't say that, but the reality is he's not getting the best, at least on paper, that he could get out of a woman when you take on a woman with a kid. When he desires a woman without a kid. So is he settling? See, women don't think that their decisions are. Your child is not only a blessing to you. It's a blessing to him.
He said that's ain't no blessing. Oh my God.
No, I'm just saying it's not his.
Oh my God. Hold on. Let me D Shorty on Twitter said, I don't think any man is the prize no matter what they got going on. The Bible says he who finds a wife does find a good thing, not he who finds a husband. And white women are like that. They will marry the ugliest man and be happy. You ain't lying. She ain't lying.
No, okay, the
Short.
problem is I agree with that. The problem is, are you a wife? And you're probably not.
Okay.
And you're probably not. Yeah, I would agree. The women, in essence, what I told her, what I said was, men are the prize now because women have made it that way. I did not say that men were originally the prize. No, women were originally the prize because women were gifted to a man. He was gifted to a man. But because women have changed, you have now twisted things and made the man the prize.
But let me ask you a question, Hefe. Did women change because of men? I won't say men demanding more of us. No.
No, I think honestly, feminism has ruined our women because it is, it has made it has made their natural being less than. So like being nurturing, being caring, being making a house a home and all of these other things, they made that secondary to the woman that's a boss bee. So they made the boss bee superior to the natural essence of women, which was a nurturer, a helpmate, a supporter, like you said, a multiplier and all this other stuff. With all of those feminine things that they say, that was what the essence of a woman was. And when it changed, when women wanted to maybe unconsciously or consciously wanted to be more
I
like
was
men.
gonna say because I feel like women, especially, I hate to go back to slavery. Women didn't have a choice. Hold on, I want to read. D Shorty said, "I was a wife, for many years. Women changed because no longer dealing with the BS these men do." Super Pad said, "Beauty is in the eye of the beholder," and he said, "I agree. Women are bosses, make their own money. Facts." I mean, I agree that women are bosses, but I feel like we kind of had to play that role because the men were absent from the families. Or let's go back to slavery when the men were being stripped from the family. So we had to kind of play that role and boss up, and hold it down.
Guess what? There's the biggest confusion with that is being a boss. The difference between the women of yesterday, like during slavery and all, and the difference between those women and the women today is those women did not lose their femininity. So yeah, they may have to step into different roles, right? That they originally weren't deemed to be in, right? Because the men were taken, rape, kill, whatever, right? And they may have to step in and play different roles, but they didn't lose their femininity. That's the problem. We don't have a problem with a woman having her own business and being an entrepreneur and all of that. We have a problem with the attitude that usually comes with a woman that has those things. And they usually lose their femininity. And that's the part where women tend to be very simple minded because they say, well, if I become a boss, I have to be masculine. And that's not true. That's not true. You don't have to take on masculinity in your relationship. You can remain feminine. What does work have to do how you carry yourself in a relationship? Answer that question.
Well, I agree with that, because
So
you got to know how to turn it off and turn it on. When you come into the house.
But even when you at work, you don't never have to listen. The strength of a woman is her femininity. You never have to be masculine as a woman. In any environment, you never have to be masculine. That is a lie that's told. You do not have to yell and scream and do different things. You just don't have to. I'm not saying that it's not effective at times in certain environments. I'm not saying that. But you do not have to become this masculine being to be a high performer.
I think some women feel like they do, depending on what industry you're in. I work in, again, the entertainment industry, which is definitely a boys' club. So you can't be no weakling in that industry. You have to have thick, tough skin.
I'm glad you said it. And there we go. And that's what modern day feminism has taught women.
But
being
in that
feminine
industry,
is being
I mean,
weak.
you have to. You
Feminine and
cannot be
weak are
weak.
not equivalent. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you cannot be a weakling in that, and you will get stepped on. And
That
super.
exactly. Femininity doesn't equal weakness. Being feminine doesn't mean you're weak. That's what we're arguing. But go ahead.
Okay, super bad said, but have men become more feminine? And Shorty said, this got these men out here acting acting sassy. So going back to what Superpad said, but have men become more feminine? Does he have a point?
100%.
Uh,
Yeah, 100%. I
yeah,
think that a lot of houses are being led by women, which produce a more feminine product, right? We already know most, at least in our community, we know that women tend are not usually are not fit to raise men, and we know that by the statistics. But on top of that, it's not because they're bad people;
well,
they're
not
just
let's. I don't
not
like the word.
engineered
Let's not say not
to raise.
fit, because they're fit to
I
raise
no,
them. But it's better when the husband, the male, is in the household or
no,
raising
it's
the
not
kid.
better. It's only okay because look, let me tell you why. Because women, especially in our community, prepare their daughters the way they should prepare their sons. So most
Mm.
women will be rougher on their daughters, preparing them for the real world, right? They'll teach them like don't depend on the man. I'm not even going to use it from the negative perspective. Let's use that from the positive perspective. Women will raise women and be like, you need to be able to fend for yourself. You need to always be able to take care of yourself. You don't want to have to rely on a man to live a basic life, right? And they will be critical of that with their daughters, and then they will pacify their sons, right? That's my baby. Don't do. He's sorry. He's trying. It's okay. He didn't. Da 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 da. When in reality, it should be the opposite. The way they raising their daughters should be the way they raise their sons, but they don't.
And I'll say this because I know every household is different. My mom did not raise me to be like, okay, you got. My dad was the one that told me like, hey, you don't depend on no man. I'ma set you up so you don't ever have to rely on. So my sperm donor was the one that taught me that. My mom was not the one that said, hey, you need to go out here and get it. You need to be independent. So I hear what you're
Yeah, and I
saying.
agree, and I think that, and this is not a cop out, but this is the honest truth. All men, all fathers are also not good fathers and good leaders either. So sometimes, unfortunately, some of us can grow up with men that are not good leaders either.
Yeah. Oh yeah, super bad. That's what he has resorted himself to, my sperm donor. But if it makes you feel better, his first name is Carl. We could call him that if it makes you feel better. But in my head, he's my sperm donor because I don't fool with him. And you're absolutely right. Because just because you're a father don't make you a good father. So that's another story for another day. Hey, Don. But you have absolutely valid points when it comes to that. But I don't know. I don't know, FA. I just think, and I don't want to keep blaming it on our past, but I just feel like women, we had as women, they had to step up to that plate and be mama and be daddy because the daddy wasn't in
Well,
the
they didn't.
household.
Well, that ain't true. Well, most women had children when they shouldn't have, right? Most women put themselves in positions where they shouldn't have, and in the name of equality, if a woman decides that she doesn't want to be a mother, then she's championed and she's supported, right? If
Mm.
she decides that she doesn't want to be a mother for any reason, but if a man decides that he doesn't want to be a father, then he's shamed, he's ridiculed, and the hypocrisy is just insane. That women tend to throw the word double standards around, but they only use it when it fits them, right? When it benefits them.
But I mean, I don't feel like as a mother, how you are. a, if you are a mama, you not walking away from your kid. I feel like maybe, and I'm not trying to compare. It's a little bit harder for a mother to walk away as opposed to
No,
a
that's
man.
a
It's
walk away, meaning a termination. That's what walk away means. Termination.
ah, whether
Walk
you.
away to me sounds like you had the child and then you walked away from it. That's what it sounds like to me. A termination is before uh, the
So
child has been
you're
conceived.
not in agreement with an abortion, but then you have the child, and then you get stuck with an Anthony Edwards situation where the man don't want the child. I mean, it's a catch 22. Fa. Because
No, it's a consequence of your poor judgment and character.
yeah,
It's a
but
consequence.
you saying the abortion, the woman has the right to abort, but that father doesn't have that right.
Right.
Again, it goes back to who you lay down with and knowing the person that you lay down with. So, I think if you do lay down with a person and make a bit, you both need to be on the same page. Not to go back to that Anthony Edwards situation, but yes, she could have terminated the baby, but she chose not to. So, do you want women not to do and terminate the kid, keep the kid, and
No,
then
yes, no. I want women have to not have a child until they're married. That's what I want.
like they
That
back
solves
like they
everything.
used to back in the day? But
Yeah, marry before you carry.
we walked away from that too.
And see how our women have been in shambles ever since. You think? Let me ask you this: do you think that our women today are in a better state than the women of yesterday, or a worse state?
As far as pertaining to what? Marriage,
Just
relationships.
life, just like marriage, quality of life, happiness, spirituality, whatever you find valuable. You know what I mean? Do you think that women today are in a better state, or
Sorry, I got a phone call.
y'all on more drugs? I ain't never met so many women trying to figure out who they are in my life. Like every time I turn around on Instagram, they trying to find themselves. Like I'm trying to figure out who I. It's like what happened?
Like what age are
Everybody's
these
so
women
lost.
that are trying to find
But
out?
every time they get out of a bad relationship, I hear them saying the same thing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that just be a spiritual. We be spiritual cleansing we
You just
need.
right. Well, you take what you say seriously. You know what I'm saying?
Chef said, I raised my daughters to be in a position to do things on their own, not to lean on a man. Super Pat said, especially men with a lot of money should know better. Poor dudes like me can go wild out here making babies.
Is Chev a woman or a man?
She's a woman.
Yeah, I would disagree with. I have a daughter, and I wouldn't raise my
I was
daughter
gonna
to
ask you
be
that too.
like
Like,
that.
how
I
are
would
you?
definitely raise my daughter to rely on a man,
You said
100%. Now, not on a man, 100%.
you
I
are
think one of the
teaching her
things.
that.
Oh, 100%. And I think that fathers, we need to do a better job of preparing our daughters to be the wives that we want to be with today, instead of preparing our daughters to be the woman that we wouldn't want to be with. So unfortunately, a lot of our fathers today raise our daughters in a way in which where they will be independent of men. And that's the very thing we don't desire in women today.
Mm,
I would raise my daughter to be the wife that I would want to marry.
okay.
And being dependent on your man is important. Now, your man, not any man. That's the difference. Now, a man has the job to. I'm gonna teach my daughter to notice what's valuable in a guy. You don't just do this for any guy. You do this for the guy that has proven himself, right?
Absolutely.
That's adequate and so on and so forth. But to walk around and say, I don't need a man, I want a man, I don't teach my daughter to do that. No, I teach her that you need a man. You need a man, just like a man needs a woman. I don't play those like I need a woman. 100%. I don't play
Well,
those
thank you
games.
for saying that, cause so you got some out here that I don't need no woman and da da da. Okay, Chef said
That's
that.
hurt.
Yeah, Chef said that's why I wanted to get married before having more kids. D Shorty said it's a conversation that should be had before sex. Going back to what we were talking about with the abortion and having the baby, and she said
Agreed.
why can't they do both? You want a woman if something happens, she can take care of herself. That was a question mark.
Right. So that when I said that I'm teaching my daughter to rely on her man doesn't mean that I didn't also teach my daughter not to be able to take care of herself. They're not mutually exclusive, right?
Okay.
They both. The woman that I'm with right now is not as makes money and can provide for the basic necessity for herself, right? And if anything was to happen to me, I'm sure that she would be able to take on some of the load. You know what I mean? Until I get back,
Right,
right?
right.
But that doesn't. They're just not mutually exclusive. Yes, you can do both.
I I mean, like I said, my mom she taught me, I feel like, how to my mom was she was a housewife, but she worked from home. She had a daycare center in her home. So she was getting money, but also still taking care of us, raising us, cooking for us, making sure that we were straight. So, I mean, I learned what I learned looking at her and how she moved and how she was nurturing. And, my mom was a great mom. I have nothing bad to say about my mom. D Shorty said a woman can be feminine and still be strong.
There you go. And that's the point that I'm
Uh
trying to make.
oh.
Stop equating femininity with weakness. That's why we was like, no,
She
women
didn't say
gotta be
weak. She said
strong.
strong. She said a woman can
No,
be.
no, no. I was talking about you earlier.
Oh yeah.
You were saying that sometimes I say be feminine. The problem is feminism has taught modern day women that being feminine equals being weak, and that's the part where I disagree with. I think that a woman's true strength is her femininity, and it's nothing weak about being feminine at all.
I just think, I don't know, and I'm just gonna say this. I think it's a time and a place for it. Like, because I said the business that I work in, like, yeah, I can't see myself sitting there and just playing that role because I almost can't. I have to be like one of the boys. Not one of the boys, but I gotta, like, I can't play with y'all. And I gotta let y'all know I'm not to be played with. But when I'm with my man, I'm letting him lead and do what he needs to do when I'm at home. So I think it's about turning it off and turning it on and when to know when to use it and when not to use it. I don't know.
I think we just disagree with when you saying turning it on. I think you could. I don't think being assertive is not feminine. I think that letting a guy know that if you're in this entertainment world and you want to make sure a guy doesn't, come at you a certain kind of way or be a certain kind of way, you want to make sure your position is I'm over here and I'm a professional and I'm not interested in any of those other things.
Yeah.
That is still feminine. That's still feminine. You don't have to be rah rah and I need to let this nigga know and da da da. You don't have to do all of that to get your point across. Was kind of what I'm arguing.
Oh, but see, yeah, when I get mad, yeah, it ain't no turn off switch with me. I'm going in, I'm gonna let you know. But again, I don't try to bring that home. I when I'm home and I'm with my man, yes, you're the leader. I'll be the head of the household. That's what the Bible says. You supposed to be the head, so lead, you know? So I don't know. Maybe women are taking what their stuff at work and bringing it home with them. I don't know everybody's situation. I know for me growing up, I saw how my mom was. She really never even raised her voice. Like, for
See
real.
that? And guess what? Didn't she still get stuff done?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Would you call your mother weak?
Oh, no. She's the strongest person I know.
Wow. And she never raised her voice.
Oh, no, no, no.
That's amazing.
I know she's strong because I tried my mama one time. We talked about this. I said,
okay, you're right. But that's the point I'm making. But go ahead.
But no, the way I handle things versus the way she handled things is completely different because I guess, like you said, in that generation they didn't use whatever their masculinity. But yeah, me, I'm like on go, especially if somebody messing with her. I'm like, who doing it? And yeah, give me their number. So yeah, that's when the masculinity kicks in. I'm sorry, it does, because I'm like, ain't nobody about to mess with my mama. All right, let's do some final thoughts. This is a great conversation. Thank you. Efe, we are definitely going to do that next one next week. I'm not sure when. But we are going to do it. Shorty said, I think he is saying you don't have to be different at work and home for it to work. Yeah. Is that what you were saying, Efe?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Shorty got it. What's your final thoughts, Efe?
That lock these parents up that can't raise these kids correctly. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, lock them up. You know what I mean? Because, and again, it's important that they understand that I'm talking about repeat offenders. I'm not talking about these children that, just do, because any child can do something that parents didn't teach them to do. We all have. I'm talking about the kids that's robbing people, that's shooting people, that's breaking into homes, like constantly doing that are like little mini terrorists to society. I'm talking about those parents
These kids
need
out
to
here
be
with
reprimanded.
the
Why is your 13-year-old outside at 2 in the morning?
yeah.
Like, well, that's a reflection of where's the parent. That
Yeah.
ain't just the child. You know what I mean? That's when I'm like, oh no, these children need to be. I mean, these parents need to be reprimanded too. They've been getting away with producing these terrorists for too long.
Yeah.
Because I can guarantee you this: if the parents, I can guarantee you this: if the parents start getting affected by what their children do, I guarantee you the children, it'll be a change in how their child start acting all of a sudden.
I guarantee it too. So maybe you have a point. Maybe these parents do need to be liable for their kids' actions, especially the ones that be out here carrying these little switches. Because where are you getting them switches from?
Come on, man.
Where is you getting them from? Okay, where? Because you don't need no damn switch. Do you know your ABCs, your 1, 2, 3s, and you out here with a switch? It's crazy. So I'm just saying, I'm with you on that. What up, Bam Bam? But thank you, FA. Thank you for everybody on Twitch. If you haven't already done so, please make sure you're following me on Twitch. Same handle at IamDeeDee Parker, IamDeeDee Parker. Hope you guys like the podcast studio 2025.
I love that.
Thank
you.
You
Send me a request when you do those topics so I can make sure I try to.
Oh, yeah. I got to get you and Rashad because I love when you guys and y'all opinion because I love it.
Right.
All right. You guys have a great Easter. Happy Easter and a happy 420 for all my smokers out there. All right. We'll do it again Monday.
Day.
Huh?
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I said happy resurrection.
Yes. You too. Bye-bye. All right, shorty, parents can't be parents anymore. A lady was arrested for beating her son because yeah, girl, and that part too. You know, they took the parenting away from the parents. You know, and it's like, okay, well, you don't want us to discipline our kids. Now what are we supposed to do? You know, and then if they get in trouble with the system, now you looking at us. But you don't want us to discipline them like we used to. Baby, it wasn't nothing for my mama to go get me a switch. Quickly, okay? If we was acting crazy, go get me a switch. And she wasn't playing with it. Angel, but yeah, go get that switch. All right, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. We'll be back at it on Monday. I usually do these from my studio when I'm at work, but I was home today for Good Friday. So Monday, 12:15 Central, 1:15 Eastern. Y'all have a good weekend. Happy Easter and happy 420 if you celebrating. All right.